Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Perfect. My name is SOFIA Canonge. I'm here with my mother, Mercedes Canonge. We will be engaging in an interview focused on learning about the connections between food, culture, migration, and the concept of home. I'm currently conducting the interview here in my apartment in Queens, while Mercedes, my mom, is connected from Santa Cruz, Bolivia. She will be helping me to understand these cultural connections through stories or her experiences regarding the importance of food in her culture and her experience of migration to New York City. With this, we will begin. Are you comfortable, Mom?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Great. So, Mom, tell us about yourself and your culture.
Well, my name is Mercedes Canonge. I'm a designer, a fashion designer profession. Now I own a company. I'm living in Bolivia, in Santa Cruz. Um, I came back 9 years ago. Um, well, about my culture, it's a combination of two or more cultures in here in Bolivia. Actually, my father came from Argentina, and he shared Italian and Catalan a background. My mother it's from Bolivia, a city that it's called Cochabamba. I was born also in Cochabamba, so I had a mix of cultures, Argentinian and Bolivian, and a fusion even in food.
So, can you describe to us your experience in migrating from Bolivia to New York City?
Um, I graduated from high school at the age of 16, and my parents decided that I had to go to New York. My brother was already there studying, and I had to go to New York and start my studies in the US. So I left my country at the age of 17, always thinking that it will be the best and the better. And yes, I had a good experience in New York. I love the city. Um, I learned so many things, uh, different cultures that I would never think of. Um, and I've been grateful and very happy to have that opportunity to live in the States, especially in New York, and meet a lot of people, meet a lot of friends, meet a lot of cultures, get in touch with the cultures, learned their cultures through food, through um, uh, celebrations and dresses and costumes and all that you can only have in a place like New York, especially in Queens.
So, what
Yes.
cultural challenges did you experience?
Cultural challenges. Maybe not too many. Maybe not too many because I was 17. I turned 18 in the States. Um, Not too many because I was too young. And when you young, you adapt uh, easier and faster.
Mhm.
Perhaps the language,
You didn't know
which
anything.
is not a cultural thing, but it still was a challenge for me, language, because I knew a little bit of English, but I couldn't speak or understand clearly. And New York they do have an accent, a very heavy one. Um, see, that was one of the things. Perhaps another one was the fact that the school that I went to learn English was actually LaGuardia Community College. That's where I learned English. And I met a lot of people from different countries. And the challenge for me was to accommodate to each culture, and trying be friend with them. And yeah, perhaps that was a challenge because so many things happening in their culture, which I didn't know. Yeah, that could be.
So now we will begin with cultural questions and food questions. Do you have
Good.
any specific cultural connections to food?
Cultural connections with food. Yes. Let's start with my mother. My mother, cultural in Bolivia. We didn't too much connect with the actual Bolivian food or culture in that part. We had our own in our family. We were kind of different. But then when my father came, we actually enjoy food and cultural that he brought, which was very different. Um, he cooked, and that was the best part of my life, watching him cooking, and that's where I learned also. Um, and the people that used to help at home, um, they were there were people that actually had the culture, Bolivian culture in themselves. And I also learned from them to love my Bolivian culture. Yes. I can, I don't know. What else is the question? I don't know.
So
Is that okay?
it's perfect, don't worry. Can you share a
Thank you.
story about one of those connections?
Yeah, both. That people that used to help us at home, they used to bring their own culture, and my grandmother used to allow them to cook for us those the food that represent them, and bring their own um condimentos, especias, um, and products and fruits and vegetables that they eat. For example, chuño, oca, ajíes that we never had at home. So I used to enjoy having those tastes in my plate. And from my father's side, watching him Saturdays make pasta from scratch and make all the tucos and and bread and all those things. That was enjoyable.
In your life, are there any important rituals or habits around food?
Um, yes, in my house, my grandmother, my grandmother was the la la reina de la casa. It was matriarcado. My grandmother used to ask the person that would have the birthday the food that the person liked. So they will cook and prepare that food for that day.
Mhm.
That was a ritual, yes. And in the morning, before you go to start your activities or to go out and work and go to school, whatever, she will prepare this drink that it's batido de huevo
Okay.
hasta punto nieve, and then you serve in a glass and you pour bicervecina, cerveza bicervecina. It's it's delicious. Um, and then from my father's side was that he will invite the entire family, not only us, but cousins, uncles, everybody, 30 people, 50 people at home, and he will cook pasta. He will cook pasta and everybody will eat, and all the kids will come and play. And that was nice. Yeah.
Perfect. Can you share some background about these rituals?
Well, yes, the background for my mother's side was that my grandmother came from a a background that it was Spaniard, and they have that ritual to do it the first thing in the morning and to also cook for them. Now that I married, I can share some other rituals because they prepare a very authentic Bolivian food with ají, which is chili. For each birthday, it doesn't matter if it's adult or kid, they make 3 dishes: ají de cola, ají de lengua, y ají de pollo. And all that is served in a big table with full of other guarniciones or little dishes. And it's a big celebration. And before, when everybody's together, they give you a drink. They give you a drink made a cocktail made out of tangerine and a traditional drink here, which is called singani, similar to vodka. And you drink that and you open the celebration, open the food or whatever, and you enjoy that. That's a very traditional way of celebrating here in Bolivia.
Food part of special holidays and celebrations in your life? Can you describe that particular food and the reason why it's important?
Celebrations, well, the birthdays, as I detailed, it's a very good way to have like a holiday. Your birthday, it's a holiday. In Bolivia and in my house, it's a holiday. Uh, Before, when I was a kid, if if you wanted, you didn't have to go to school. It was a holiday. It was your birthday. And a lot of people used to ask for a free day, a personal day, because it was a birthday. It was a big celebration. And for me, it stayed that way even now. You know, my birthday is the most important day in my life because it's one more year for me. And another celebration for me now, it's a very important celebration. It's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Yes, I adopted from the United States that cultural ritual celebration, which for me is very important because I got the meaning that it's cooking with love for your loved ones and having them together and share what you cook. So I learned how to make turkey and and I try to do it with so much love so they can feel when they're eating, because that's one thing I learned from my family, my father and my grandmother and my mom, that the food has to be cooked with love. Yeah.
Are there specific cooking oh are there specific cooking techniques or tools for preparing food that have a special meaning in your community?
Oh, yes, they have a lot. They do have a lot. But unfortunately, I didn't get to use them or, share them, but I've seen them in my house. It's one thing that I can describe as a tool. It's called batán. Batán, it's una piedra cuadrada
Mhm.
que está tallada y que tiene una base hundida. Y tiene otra piedra que es ovalada
Mhm.
y que se agarra así y se muele. ¿Sí? So you can put chilies, you can put corn, um, you can make this traditional spicy thing that you use it to spice your food that is called llajua. It's a mixture of green chili and tomatoes. And you use these special leaves that only grows in Bolivia, that it's called quirquiña. It's the smell and the taste is absolutely wonderful. So you mix that in that stone called batan. In my house, the lady that used to help us, that she stayed there, I think forever, used to prepare that. And my grandmother used to get any kind of piece of bread or any kind of piece of egg, boiled egg, and used to make me try it. So for me, that stone in my house was the foundation of cooking. And I love that batan. We still have at home. Yeah, those are one of the tools, but they have so many other tools in different regions. Bolivia, because Bolivia, it's multi-ethnic. They have 33 ethnias. So each one has their own way of cooking and their tradition and culture. So it's so rich. And now that I'm living here these 9 years, I'm enjoying so much those traditions, the cultural. I love it. Yeah, like I've never did before.
Are there any parts of your identity that are shaped by a connection you have to food?
Um, that batan,
Mhm.
el batan with my grandmother, um, connected me to love what other people cook for you,
Mhm.
because they cook with love. And my father, I remember my father making pasta and making food and making me feel so happy, but so happy just watching him. And that's how I also learned how to make pasta and tucos and all that stuff. Yes, those were the connections, the food. I can smell and remember things in my life.
Have any parts of the food culture in your community changed during your life? If so, how and why?
Yeah. Um, I think young people nowadays don't want to eat uh, soups. When I grew up, they used to make us a lot of corn soup. We have here in Bolivia, we have different type of corn, color, shape, and we use it in a different ways. We have other cereals too, like quinoa, um, that we use to make soup. So our food was really, really rich in nutrients, and it was very healthy. Nowadays, kids and young people don't eat that anymore. Oh, they eat other things, but they don't eat that. And I think that's what it's changing in Bolivia. We're losing that um,
Tradition.
health,
Yeah.
healthy traditional food. Yes. Mhm.
I remember it was traditional to have first soup, your the entree, and then dessert. That used to be a
Yeah.
implemented tradition.
And now they just eat one thing, and it has if it is fast food, it's better for them. Yeah.
That's very Western.
What can I say?
Are you concerned about the food culture in your community changing in the future? If so, how and why?
I am I am worried, but uh I believe that everything changes in life, changes in this world. And young people also change a lot of food habits and rituals and everything. And they will somehow make a different culture wherever they are. There will be a lot of uh, fusion of different cultures, of different places, different foods, different, I don't know. And they will create one new one. So that's what I've learned with my kids, that you just have to accept the fact that so many things will disappear, but some other new things will appear. I hope those new things that appear now as a new emerging culture take little things from the old cultures,
Mhm.
the best ones. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so we are now at the end of the interview. I want to thank you so much for giving me your time. Any thoughts after the interview? Any comments, Mom?
No, just that I'm so happy that I can help you with this project, uh, because I always, I always think that food, cooking, it's is the most important part in our lives.
Mhm.
Um, so we have to learn how to appreciate uh, people that cook for us, especially.
Mhm.
That's what I've learned, because whoever is cooking for you is putting too much energy, effort, and love in that food. And you know what? Whenever you eat that food, you can actually take all that in yourself. So as an advice, when you cook for somebody, never cook when feeling sad, angry, or depressed, because you will trespass those feelings to the people that eating.
Right.
So if you feel those things, don't cook. Don't feed anybody. Cook and feed when you are happy.
Have you seen the movie Chocolate? It's a,
Yes.
that
Oh, one of my favorites. I was in New York, by the way,
when you saw that?
and I love it. Yes. And I love it. And I realize it later with my kids that it's so true.
That's true.
It's very true.
That you trust.
Yes, it is.
That you.
You trespass all your feelings to the people that you're cooking. My father, for example, he used to sing and he used to be so happy. And that's why the food was so delicious that even now I can taste it. You know?
Yeah.
And my grandmother used to tell the lady that used to help us, if you're not feeling well, don't cook because we're gonna get sick.
I'm gonna leave you with one more question because I'm very curious. What is your favorite Bolivian traditional dish?
My favorite Bolivian traditional dish. Pique a lo macho. Pique a lo macho is something that I love and I really love. And it's so easy because it's not something that you have to put so much effort in it. No, it is meat, um, like steak, but chunky. It's French fries, but not the thin ones, the American ones, but the chunky ones too.
Mhm.
It has a lot of tomatoes, a lot of onion, and a lot of green chilies, which are hot. And it has the like a frankfurters, you know, a little bit of cheese if you want to, boiled egg cut in pieces. And the best part of it is that you have to get a beer, shake it, and esparcirlo o condimentarlo and then you eat it. And what is called pique a lo macho? Because you have to be a macho man to eat those green chilies with the food. Qué
Oh,
rico.
in Spanish, what do we call that in Bolivia? Those green chilies.
Locotos. Los locotos verdes picantosos. ¡Ay, qué rico!
That's also my favorite.
Yeah, I love it. I
Where,
love it.
where does it come from? What part of Bolivia?
It comes from my city. Actually, my city, Cochabamba, is the food kingdom or palace of Bolivia. Why? Because we live eating. We don't eat to live. We live to eat because we have breakfast, middle morning dish,
Mhm.
lunch, middle afternoon dish, dinner, and then late dinner before you go to sleep 6 times. And it's not snacks,
Big
food,
quantities.
food. We have more than 100 dishes that are cooked every single day in different places. And every day they serve a traditional food for that day. It's a place where you have to eat and enjoy food with your friends. And yeah, they drink a lot of beer too.
You're making me miss Bolivia.
Well, when you're here, I'm going to cook for you. Okay.
Okay. So, Mom, I want to thank you once again. Thank you so much for giving me your time. This really helped me a lot. I think all of your stories, all your experiences is going to help me with my research. So, thank you so much, Mom.
I love you, hija. And I hope everything goes okay. And yes, it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure, really, to talk about my experience about food in New York. Yeah, I miss New York. I'm going back soon.
Mom.
I love you, hija. Bye bye.